Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Busy Life Podcast. My name is Julie, and today is going to be a very special podcast episode. As we approach the end of the year and everybody's reflecting and trying to think of how to achieve their goals, the whole new year, new me concept, right? I'm just trying to think of how to better myself. And essentially, when we make these goals in mind, we are trying to better ourselves, but we're too focused on the goals. And I think it's time that we really just focus on what is going to make us happier. I am speaking from a place of a ton of anxiety that I've endured these past 6 months. The beginning of the year for me was pretty similar, I would think, to the way my other years have been. I've always had anxiety. I've always dealt with a little bit of anxiety. And I am very open about the fact that I'm on medication for my anxiety, that I see a therapist. And that is part of why I made this podcast, because I wanted to reach people who are like me or have their own struggles. And I just want to remind them that they're not alone. And I want this podcast to be a safe space for people to find tools and resources that I have found and that I have used, some of which I've created, some of which other people have created, and use it to help them find happiness and to help them realize that they are not their anxiety. Now, all of this in mind, of course, I am not a licensed professional. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I am just here to help you as much as I can with my advice. I'm just your friend. We're just having a conversation, but having these conversations does help. And it does make you feel better because it reminds you that you're not alone. So I too listen to podcasts, and I have a lot of podcasters who are my favorite, and I want to be just like them. I aspire to find my version of a podcast that reaches as many people as I can and grows. And those are my goals. I have goals like that too. Like I have, I want to be able to deadlift this much, or I want to be able to make this much, and I want to be able to do this. But I also have goals about just my inner health and my inner happiness. So as I was listening to some of my favorite podcasts, I came across my all-time favorite podcaster, Mel Robbins. Shout out to Mel Robbins. And her newest episode on her podcast, let me pull it up. I'm telling you guys, you got to listen to Mel Robbins. This is not sponsored by her at all. I am just a massive fan of her books, her podcast. Her newest episode of the Mel Robbins podcast is how to make 2024 the best year yet, or the best year. 6 questions to ask yourself. And I take this very seriously. So naturally, I'm listening to it while I'm on the treadmill. And I'm writing down all the notes, and she's like, in the podcast, she's like, don't worry about it. Like, you can go to my website and I have everything written down so you don't have to write everything down that I'm saying, but I'm still listening. I'm like, okay, fine. I won't write it down, but I'm still listening. And essentially she asks 6 questions that help her reflect on her year. So right now, as I'm recording this podcast episode, it is Friday, December 22nd of 2023. And I'm thinking about 2024. And I think, how cool would it be when I listen to this episode at the end of 2024 and I do the same reflection for 2025? And it's crazy how simple these questions are, yet they're so important to ask yourself. And she recommends that you go through these questions with somebody else, because they're going to help you remember things. But right now I'm by myself as I'm writing this. So I'm going to do my best to do this by myself. And then when my husband comes home later, I think I want to have a more private version of it with him. But you might be thinking like, okay, well, why are you recording all this? Like, don't you want to do this later with your husband? Like she said, you're going to need it with somebody else. But I want to encourage you to do the same. Again, these are not my questions. It's not my idea, but Mel Robbins came up with them. I'm a massive Mel Robbins fan, and I figured, why not do it together? And you guys will get my honest, raw reactions. I think it would be an absolute dream come true if Mel Robbins heard this and she got to hear my reactions. But I figured, why not? Guys, I'm tired of having so much anxiety, and I was going to make today's episode another anxiety episode, but I don't want to focus on anxiety right now. I want to focus on a better Julie, a happier Julie, and I want to give you guys feedback to feel the happiness that we really all deserve to feel. And I think in order to do that, we need to do some work. We need to do some digging. We need to ask ourselves these questions, and honestly, we really need to take it seriously. So let's jump in, okay? So according to Mel Robbins' journal, it says it is mathematically impossible to get directions to a new destination if you don't know where you're starting from. The same can be said about your life. In order for you to create a set of directions to the best year of your life, you must know where you're starting from and where you want to go next. Already mind blown. Already mind blown, guys. So let's take a powerful look back on your past year using these 6 questions. You have grown in the last 12 months. You've changed, developed your wisdom, and maybe even sharpened your intuition. That is very true. So let's use that new growth to set yourself up for success in the new year. So here are her questions. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to read them to you guys first, and then we are going to dissect them one at a time. That's kind of how she does it in her episode. And this journal, I'm looking at the journal essentially, which is where I'm reading from. Again, these are not mine. This is 110% Mel Robbins. I am just kind of answering them with you. I'm going to start, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to start reading these one at a time, and we're just going to do it. I changed my mind. We're not doing them all at the same time, one at a time. Okay. As you guys can tell, this is a totally unedited, raw episode. And that's kind of how I want this one to be. I want you guys to get the honest reactions to everything I say. And I think I'm going to surprise myself too, and hopefully inspire you to go to Mel Robbins' website as well and do the same. All right. Question number 1. What were the highlights from your past year? And now, of course, we're in December. So you got to think all the way back. So Mel Robbins recommends that we get some help from our camera roll or a calendar. And then we got to write down everything. But I'm just going to say it out loud to you guys. And let's open up the phone. Okay, I'm going to go all the way. All right, we're almost there. We're in January. Nope, not there yet. Jeez, I have a lot. Okay, well, this will be really helpful because all of my pictures are still here. Nope, we're in March. Almost there, guys. Nope, still March. My gosh. Okay, now we're in January. All right, let's see. So I have a lot of pictures of my dog. Oh, I have pictures from when this one girl at work got engaged, and I see that I was loving her cookie she had. At this time in my life, I was planning my wedding, and I was trying to think of wedding favors. So I remember she had brought cookies that looked like her dress as kind of like a surprise to what her dress was going to look like. And as cute as I thought those cookies were, I decided no. So because I don't want people to see my dress. And we decided to go with a friend of mine who made cookies that were the Greek flag and the evil eye. And they said like Mr. and Mrs. Hobbs, and, had our names on them and the wedding date and stuff like that. So that was the time that I remember we picked our cookies and we were so excited. So that was back in January. Ooh, this was also when we had finally decided on when to do my bridal shower. We had a bridal shower brunch. Oh, that was so fun. Okay, now we are in February, and oh my gosh, guys, this is so special. Nothing really thrilling happened in February. That's okay. In March, because the way you got to do this is you got to go through each month. In March, wow. Guys, March was insane. I think March was one of the most fun. March was when I did my final wedding dress fitting, and I remember being so proud of myself because I've been working so hard on trying to, everybody always tells you gotta get fit for the dress. F that, okay? I just wanted to be healthy. So I was just trying so hard to maintain a healthy body, maintain a healthy lifestyle. And I remember when I put that dress on, I felt like a princess. But it was also when I went to Miami for my bachelorette. We went with like 10 or 12 of my closest friends and cousins and sisters, and I had a ball. Miami is so much fun. And I remember my sister made me an outfit, and we went to this Italian restaurant that they randomly started singing. I don't know if it was something like it was somebody's birthday or whatnot, but we all had to like wave our napkins in the air. It was a great time. But the theme of it was Mamma Mia themed. So it was like Mamma Mia, Julie's getting married. That was so much fun. Then we jumped to April, and I remember I did my hair and makeup trial for my wedding. So a lot of this is wedding based. But we did my hair and makeup trial for my wedding, and I just felt so damn pretty. I have always had a rough relationship with my skin. I'm Greek, and I am very blessed with my olive tone, undertone, is that what you call it? And I've always loved it's crazy. Like I've loved my body. I'm very blessed to say that I've been able to do a lot of work on loving myself, but loving my skin has been hard because I've always had a lot of acne growing up to the point where I had to go on Accutane. So I remember just looking at my face and I was like, wow, this is what people without pimples must feel like. But I also just felt like a princess. So that was a special moment. Also in April was when guys, this is huge. I went to Mexico. This was my first out of the country solo trip. Not only was it my first out of the country solo trip, it was actually my first solo trip ever. It was a massive leap of faith, and I went with these amazing girls on a redefined fitness retreat ran by my friend Kelsey Wells, and it was mind blowing. It was mind blowing. So that was in April. It was a huge, huge, huge success. And I remember just being so, so proud. Let's see, we're in May. Oh, it was my cousin's wedding. I remember we had a great time in May. I received all the photos from the Redefined Fitness Retreat in May, and that was a beautiful time. Oh, also in May, my school threw me a school wedding where they all went down the hallway and blew bubbles at me, and we had cake, and it was with me and all my students. Oh my God. June, obviously, my wedding. It was literally a mind-blowing experience to have that, to have my wedding. I mean, it was just the best day. Seriously. It was, guys, it was supposed to rain. Like it was supposed to storm that day. All month it had been saying that day was going to rain, that day it was going to rain. Even the day before, that day it's going to rain. It was beautiful. And you know what else happened? You can't explain this, guys. There was a rainbow at the end of the day. I mean, mic dropped. If that was not a sign from the heavens that we were supposed to be together, I don't know what else was. It was insane and such a beautiful day. And now I'm going to kind of combine question 1 and 2 because Mel Robbins has, the first one is what were the highlights? And then the second question she has is what were the hardest parts? So I think what I'm going to do is talk about both of them simultaneously because now we're getting to the point in the year where things were pretty hard. And even though there's still good ones, I'm going to go over the good ones as well. But this is where I also found out I was allergic to dogs, which so some of you might be like, okay, but I have 2, and it's a not fun allergy to have when you have 2 dogs and you feel like your dogs are like your kids. and you let them sleep in your bed and you let them sleep in your room. Well, if you have a dog allergy, fun fact, you can't do those things anymore. It sucks. So I felt like a horrible dog mom at this time because I'm going for all these tests, and I'm finding that I'm itchy all the time, and it's because of my dogs. And I was heartbroken because now I have to have my dogs sleep downstairs. And I know, I know there's some of you listening who are like, okay, whatever, Julie, like my dog sleeps in a crate in the basement. Well, not mine. Okay. Mine were in my bed and I didn't mind because I just loved having them there. So at this point in time, I'm feeling bad because I'm allergic to my dogs and I have to like change up my routine. My dog's anxiety is getting higher, both of them, and now they're destroying my couch more often. It was just not a fun time. So that was hard. And the day after my wedding was so hard because we picked up my dog, my one dog from daycare, and he had pneumonia. So now we had to move my honeymoon back a day and spend about $3,000 with the vet. No, I don't have pet insurance. And I know there's going to be people who come at me and are like, oh, you need pet insurance. Well, I didn't have it at the time. And now I'm afraid of even going on a honeymoon because my poor dog has pneumonia and he's like really not doing well. So we had to delay our honeymoon a day. And my sister was amazing and came back and stayed with my dogs while we were on our honeymoon because I'm looking at this picture of my dog that had pneumonia in the bathroom. My sister had to put the shower on at high heat to get it all steamy and pat him on his side so he would cough up any like mucus in his chest. And it was just so funny because he just looked at me like in the picture, he's just like, what is happening? But after that, this is also one of the hardest parts. My entire honeymoon, yes, this is a bit of an exaggeration, but I'm going to say it anyway. My entire honeymoon was horrible. I got off the plane at my honeymoon and I immediately have a fever. I am sick. I feel like I'm going to pass out. I am like, what is happening? I think I'm having COVID. I think I have COVID at this point. No, it's just a virus. And they're like, yeah, you're going to need some medicine. So I literally, guys, I went to the hospital the first day of my honeymoon. And I was sick for the entire honeymoon. So we left early. The weather wasn't even good, so I couldn't even enjoy it. I couldn't even like get tan. I couldn't just be like, you know what, I'm going to pop a Dayquil and then go outside. Like, no. Guys, it was horrible. And it was such a bad time that the sunniest day was the day we left. Like, are you kidding me? So that sucked because that was a lot of money that we had spent and I was so miserable and then Ryan was miserable. It was just, guys, it was just not a good day. So that was July. I also taught summer school. That was a super fun time. I was a program director, so that was fun. August was just a lot of summer memories, just, relaxing, being at home, going to the pool, going to the gym. Let's see. I mean, a lot of this on here is just like some day-to-day stuff. Oh, I went to the beach. I got more wedding photos back. Oh my God, guys, this is so special to go through and look at all of this. But then school started. So now we're in September and school has been really rough. I've been talking about this a lot. Teaching this year has been very stressful. My caseload, I'm a special ed teacher, so my caseload has been a lot harder this year than it has been in past years. So there's a lot of adorable pictures of me with my kids, of course, with permission from their parents. So those have been hard, but yet so rewarding because I love being a teacher so much. Oh, I went to see the Jonas Brothers. That was in September. Oh, now we're in October. Wow, I held my tan, guys. This is very impressive. Now we're in October. I'm just seeing a lot of workout stuff because you guys know I love to exercise. Oh, I remember we saw these really fun Halloween lights. Let's see. Oh, I was asked by Kelsey Wells and her assistant for myself and my sweat sister Anya to come and help set up the Redefine Fitness event in New York City. And that was such an honor. Oh my God. So I'm looking at all these beautiful photos from that. I saw the Eras Tour movie with my BFF Justin. Let's see, now we're in November. Oh, Halloween. My sisters and some of my friends and I did a group Halloween costume. And we are the Wizard of Oz. I was Dorothy. My sisters were the Wicked Witch of the West and the Good Witch of the East, Glinda. All these fun Halloween photos. Now we're in November, and as you guys know, I'm a massive Christmas fan, so I'm seeing pictures of my decorations. I'm seeing more pictures from school, of course, that I sent to my students' parents. Then we get into December, and I see a lot of pictures that oh my God, I forgot about Thanksgiving. Wow. Nope, we're in Thanksgiving. I'm just seeing some beautiful pictures from Thanksgiving that I took with my family. And honestly, just the simplicity of being together was the most important thing. And now we're in December and I'm seeing some of my decoration photos. We saw the Jonas Brothers again because whoops. And I got to go with my best friend Shoshana. Oh, we did a holiday baking championship at school. I see pictures of my baked goods. And now we're here at this point where I'm reflecting on everything. And I think a mixture of everything was, if I could do any highlights from it, I would say that the wedding was the biggest. It was the most special. The fact that I went to Mexico, the fact that I got to help Kelsey Wells in New York, the fact that I got to go to Miami, all of those things were super big and super special. But there was, of course, a lot of small wins as well. And the hardest things was, of course, having a crappy honeymoon and having a very stressful year at work. So that's my answers to number 1 and number 2, which are what were the highlights and what is the hardest parts. Now, what you're supposed to do on here is you're supposed to go into a lot of depth. So you're supposed to think of like terms of health and wellness, career, money, school, relationships, love and friendship, fun and happiness, and purpose and spirituality and meaning. I think I'm going to do those deeper parts with Ryan, but maybe we'll do a part 2 to this episode where he goes over his as well. She puts an awesome quote in here that says, when your goals are informed by the things you've struggled with, those goals take on a richness of meaning. Oh, I love that. Number 3 is, what did you learn about yourself over the past year? Oh, I've learned, if I could give you guys like a summary statement, I've learned that you really are capable of achieving more than you think you can. And that your anxiety is just a thought. I went to Mexico, guys. Like, I don't think you understand how important that is to me because I literally, I don't like being alone. And I traveled to and from another country alone. And not on like these short 2-hour flights. Like it was like 8 hours alone. And that is huge because I even had a panic attack on the plane and I still did it alone. And I proved to myself, like, you're fine. The plane's not going to go down. Are you nervous? Yeah. Is that okay? Yeah. Because you're going to make it. You're going to get home. And you're going to be able to talk about this amazing time you had in Mexico. And that was just, I learned that you really can do the things you're afraid of. You really can. I also learned that good things do come to you. I remember being little and always seeing people, happy and in love, and maybe not always, but then I hit high school, and the pretty girls got the cute boyfriends. And I always wondered, like, well, am I going to end up with somebody that I don't really like? Like, am I just going to settle, or am I actually worthy of somebody that makes me happy and that I find attractive and that loves me and loves my family and we have the same values? And I did. like he's real. And I remember just thinking to myself on my wedding day, like, this is a dream. This this is a dream. Like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be like, oh, haha, very funny. Like, no, that day happened. And that taught me that you do deserve the things you want in life. And I don't know, that you got to dream big, guys. If you want something, it'll come to you. It might not come when you want it, but it does. And I think that kind of goes for like my health and fitness goals as well, because I mean, you guys know I'm a personal trainer, I'm a nutrition coach. I'm a big believer in that you have to put in the work to get what you want. And I think that goes for relationships as well. If you really want something to work, you have to put in the work. But I also think there's that part of it too, that you also have to trust the process. And it's crazy because that kind of goes both with my wedding, with Ryan, and with like my personal life and with my health and fitness journey. I mean, even with this podcast, I learned today that this podcast has reached 31 countries. 31 countries. I don't even know if I can list 31 countries off the top of my head right now. It's just, it's really incredible that good things do come to you. And when you put in the work, it happens. And when you show up, it happens. And when you believe in yourself, it happens. So that's my recommendation for that. And that is really what I learned about myself, is that when I believe in myself, I can make things happen. I'm gonna skip over. She's got a lot on here that's like, it's like a bonus section where you circle the number that best describes how you feel about each part of your life. But we're gonna go to question 4, which is, what are the things you're going to stop doing in the next year of your life? Well, in the area of health and wellness, I am gonna go through this question. I think with the subparts, because that'll help me not just ramble. In the area of health and wellness, I'm going to stop getting mad at myself for missing a workout. When you miss a workout, it's not the end of the world. I've proven that to myself many times, and I've actually learned that rest is like more important than I thought it was. So I'm going to stop getting mad at myself for missing a workout. In the area of career, money, or school, I'm going to stop listening to the drama. I'm going to stop participating in it. Stop thinking that, people are talking about me. I got to stop, because it's just not helping my mental health at all. In the areas of relationship, love, and friendship, this is crazy, but I feel the most comfortable in this area. But what I'm going to stop doing is I'm going to stop reaching out to friends who don't give me the same, and family members who don't give me the same love and appreciation back. I've always been that person who tries to reach out, tries to make things work, but I have a busy life, hence this podcast, and I've lost friends in the past who can't respect that. So I'm done trying to prove now to people that I can be a good friend, and I am a good friend. Because if they don't already know that, then they're not worthy of being my friend in the first place. And in the area of fun and happiness, I'm going to stop thinking that I need to do everything in order to have fun. I always feel like, oh, well, you should do this. It'll be fun. You should do this. It'll be fun. You should do this. It'll be fun. And then I end up doing too much. I'm going to stop over committing to that. And then in the area of purpose, spirituality, and meaning, I'm going to, damn, Mel, these are hard. What am I going to stop doing in the area of purpose, spirituality, and meaning? I'm going to stop thinking that just because something bad happens, it doesn't mean that I don't deserve something good. And I hope that makes sense. And I hope that goes along with that, because I am very existential. I do like to think of things in the bigger picture. And I have to stop thinking that just because something doesn't go my way or that something makes me nervous doesn't mean that something bad is meant to happen to me or that something bad is supposed to happen now. And I hope that makes sense. But we're going to move on also now to number 5, because I think if I go too detailed into that right now, I don't know, I might lose my train of thought because that's a deep one. And I think I'm going to need to revisit it later and go over it more in depth with Ryan in our part 2. So let's get to number 5. What are the things you will continue doing? Okay. This one I know I've thought about this one a bit. I want to continue, of course, taking care of my body. I want to continue exercising at the frequency that I do. I strength train, I walk, I run now, which is pretty exciting. And I stretch, of course, before and after every workout. In the areas of career, money, and school, I want to continue showing up for my students because they mean a lot to me. I want to continue being smart with my money because that has been what's helped me not be in so much debt like I used to be. And in the areas of relationship, love, and friendship, I want to continue to show up for those people who not only show up for me, but who I love deeply. In the areas of fun and happiness, I'm going to continue saying yes to the things that make me happy, not just the things that I think I'm supposed to say yes to. And in the areas of purpose, spirituality, and meaning, I'm going to continue remembering my why. And I'm going to continue doing things that fulfill my life because my purpose in life, or I guess maybe one of my purposes in life, or however you want to word this really, but I really feel like a major drive for my life is by helping others, I also help myself. You know, I've done a lot of careers that help everybody else. I've a trainer, teacher, nutrition coach, women's health and fitness specialist. All of that is like to serve the population. But the cool thing is that by doing that, I'm also teaching myself. Like when I come across a student who needs specific help or needs specific things that I've never done, I've also taught myself how to do those things now. And same thing with training. When I've trained a client who has specific needs, it's kind of cool because then I get to go research about it and I've learned something new now. And now I've been able to add to my repertoire of what I know and who I can help. So I want to continue feeding my why because I think in the end that helps with my purpose. And I hope that makes sense. And I honestly hope you do the same. Okay, the last question, guys. Drum roll. Question number 6. What do you want to start doing in the next year of your life? I think this is what a lot of people, just from my own experience, focus on. They only focus on what they want to do. Oh, when January 1st, I'm going to start 75 hard. I'm going to start tracking my macros. I'm going to start tracking my calories. I'm going to start exercising. Like it's always what you're going to start. So I actually really appreciate Mel Robbins putting this as number 6 because I think without number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I wouldn't be able to appropriately come up with answers for number 6. So if you're listening to this, Mel, thank you for doing it in that order. I know that there is a reason for it, and she mentions it in her podcast, but I appreciate it on a personal level. Okay, in the area of health and wellness, I'm going to start focusing on how I feel in my workouts rather than just doing them because they're what's next in my app. And I'm going to start more frequent meditation and breathing techniques. I think that'll really help with my anxiety. It'll help me be more present and it'll help me overall. I think when you're more centered, your brain functions more properly. Does that make sense? Are those words? It functions. Yeah. It functions more properly. And clearly I need it right now. And I just think it makes you overall healthier in, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally and physically. So I want to do more of that. I want to connect more to my soul. In the areas of career, money, or school, I want to start. I don't want to start any school right now. I graduated with my master's last year. I'm taking a little break from school. Um, I want to. Oh, I know what I want to do. I've been saying with Ryan that I want to start a account for our down payment for a house. I want to start doing that because I want to upgrade from my condo to a house. And with career, because I'm going to make those each individual, I'm going to start just worrying about Julie and just focusing on what Julie and Julie's kids need. Not what anybody else says, not what other people suggest. Just start doing only what Julie needs, because when you worry about what everybody else needs, it gets too crazy. In the area of relationship, love, and friendship, I am going to start. I want to start making Ryan feel more appreciated. I think that if you ask him, he'll say he is appreciated. Oh God, I'm getting emotional. But I don't think if he's listening to this, which I know he will, I don't think he understands how much I appreciate him and how much he has saved me and my mental health struggles these past 6 months. And I want to start finding out new ways that I can make him feel appreciated and loved, because I'm very well aware that, not everybody and not everything in your life is permanent. And I just want to make sure that I'm not taking my anger out on people. I'm not taking my anxiety out on people. And I'm going to start being more aware. Oh my goodness, guys, of how my anxiety can affect my relationships. And I want to start making sure that I'm sharing my appreciation more. Whew, man, I didn't think that was going to happen. In the areas of fun and happiness, I want to start scheduling more fun. I think that the only way fun, as you guys can tell too, I have a cold. But I want to start scheduling more fun. I was sick a lot these last 6 months. Not like, knock on wood, I'm okay. But like a lot of like sinus infections, viruses, COVID, everything, stuff like that, ear infections, eye infections, all that stuff. So I want to start scheduling more fun. I want to schedule more things, but not too many things. So I also want to go back to the whole concept of doing less as well. Maybe like a monthly thing to look forward to, I think would be something that I could roll with. I like that. So maybe start like monthly get-togethers, monthly happy hours, or I don't really drink though, so maybe not a happy hour, but that's something to think about too. Scheduling more fun, more things that actually make me feel excited rather than things that make me feel stressed. And in the area of purpose, spirituality, and meaning, this part is hard. I kind of think of meditating with this along with wellness, because I think when you meditate, you connect more to your spiritual side. But I want to start. I hope this makes sense. I want to start getting to know myself more. I've been on that journey for a while, but I want to actually start seeing if I am fueling my soul the way that my soul needs it to be fueled, and not the way that other people think it should be fueled. Meaning, instead of just doing this because somebody says it's good for you, I want to start finding more about my purpose and making sure that I'm doing things because I know they'll be good for me, or I think they'll be good for me. And I think that'll help me connect on a deeper level with myself and my purpose. Like I said, my why. Why am I even doing this podcast? Why am I on here talking with you guys? I wouldn't be unpacking all of this with you guys if I didn't find a purpose in it. And the minute I heard Mel Robbins' episode, I knew it. I was like, Julie, you need to get on here and you need to unpack this on your podcast. And I want to start listening to that voice more. So hopefully that answers that. Wow. And that brings us to the end of our episode. I highly recommend you do this, guys. Again, I am not sponsored by Mel Robbins. I'm a massive fan, and a dream of mine one day is to collaborate with her. But this was just something that called to me. I had that gut feeling, Julie, you need to do this episode. I don't know. I feel like I'm on a cloud right now. I highly recommend you guys ask yourself these 6 questions within this next week or so, because as we approach a new year, there's always new things that you guys want to be doing. But maybe instead of focusing on the new year, new me, focus on these things. What were you doing in the past that you want to make sure you stop? What were some things that made you happy? Some things that were hard? What are some things you want to keep doing? What are some things you learned? And what are some brand new things you want to start? Because I think until you unpack all of that, you'll never be able to actually see a change. And with that being said, I want you guys to know I love you. I'm proud of you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast, and I can't wait to see you next time.